Hey everyone, Ray here from Nest Mortgage, and I hope you're having a great week. A little late to the party, but wanted to get this out on the inflation data that Statistics Canada released for January. And the good news on inflation is continuing. We're down to 5.9% from 6.3% the month before. And that begins to take a little bit of the pressure off the Bank of Canada and supports their conditional pause that they announced at the last announcement in January. But one of the things I'm getting a lot of these days is questions around or statements rather that, hey, we're going to have to go further. And I think a lot of that is being influenced by American news coverage and media and articles. And I think it's important to discuss the differences between the United States and Canada in this context, because the Bank of Canada did come out last week and said, hey, don't be surprised if our policy differs from other central banks. We were the first to begin the rate increases, and we are the first to announce the conditional pause unless there's an accumulation of evidence that suggests rates need to rise further. Whereas in the United States, they're saying, hey, rates have to go further. So I wanted to flash back to the 2008 subprime crash, which caused a mess globally and triggered a recession here in Canada. But there were some fundamental differences between the two economies that will sort of change the path we go on going forward. One of those is that mortgages in Canada are recourse loans, meaning that you can be gone after personally by a bank should you be unable to pay your mortgage. In addition to taking your house or selling the house to recover their debts, they can come after you personally. Whereas in the States, in most jurisdictions, they aren't recourse loans. And you probably heard the term jingle mail, where people just mail in their keys and say, hey, walk away. So during the subprime crash, there was a massive deleveraging of debt. Mortgages were walked away from. Banks went under. A lot of debt was just wiped off the books, and the whole structure was changed there. Whereas in Canada, really what we got was a recession and much more strict mortgage rules. So all that to say that Canadians on average are more leveraged than our American counterparts, and therefore will be much more sensitive to these rate increases, meaning we don't have to go as far necessarily to achieve the same result. So when you're seeing these headlines in these articles about, hey, the Fed is going to have to increase interest rates further, that doesn't necessarily mean Canada has to follow. So they are two separate economies. And I think some of the evidence to that point is the Canadian dollar against the US is depreciating. It's at a 7-week low, in large part because the Fed is expected to go higher and Canada is expected to stay roughly similar. So yeah, important to keep in mind those distinctions. Now, by no means are we through this. Interest rates are expected to remain at this level for a while, but the missing ingredient here is time. It's not necessarily more rate increases, barring any other evidence to suggest otherwise. I think really where we sit here is just to ride this out, let these interest rate increases do their thing, which is uncomfortable. Yes, it's doing the job it's supposed to do. So if you are in a situation where you've gone from, hey, this sucks, but I was feeling okay about it, and that's changed now to this sucks, and I don't know what to do, please reach out, because there are some solutions out there. We can help navigate you through that and create a plan and look through that and make sure we can put some of that stress at ease. So if you have any questions, need to chat, feel free to reach out. We are here for you. Take care out there. Good luck.